So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. My name is Satya Kirti, and I am a customer success specialist at Zoho. So, today we're going to see how to transform and automate your contract management with Zoho by integrating Zoho contracts and Zoho Forms with the power of Zoho Flow. Before I dive into this session, I have a few general announcements to make. The audience will be on mute by default. You can feel free to throw your questions at us at any point of time during the session. Do engage on our polls, and attendees will receive a recording along with the slide deck after the session. To set the right expectations for the next 30 or 45 minutes, what are you going to get out of this webinar? So it will be an overview on Zoho Forms, Zoho Flow, and Zoho Contracts, challenges faced by the legal team due to high bandwidth of contracts in their organization, how to automate contract creations by integrating both the products with Zoho Flow, with live use cases, and how you can implement this in your organization. Right? So let's get started. And I have a poll for you guys. Which of the following Zoho products you currently use right now? The poll would be screened for 15 seconds. Feel free to add your answers. Right. So let's have an introduction to Zoho Forms. So Zoho Forms is a no-code form building application where you can create your forms from scratch, embed that in your website. And the purpose of building a form and embedding it on your website is to reach more audience and get your data collected automatically. So this, in turn, reduces the paperwork, eliminates the paperwork. To be honest, like I've seen a lot of organizations in the past, they used to collect the data on paper, right? So this Zoho Forms application will reduce the paperwork, eliminate the paperwork, and automate your data collection process. And the ability to access the data will also be instant. Zoho Forms have more than 30 plus fields that can be dragged and dropped. You can simply customize your form by using the themes and have them, embedded on your website. Let's take a look at the integrations that Zoho Forms has supported. There are a lot of Zoho products that can be integrated with Zoho Forms. And apart from that, even non-Zoho products can be integrated with Zoho Forms. I can give you a lot of use cases and examples here. So let's say that you integrate Zoho Forms with Google Drive. You can get your Zoho Form responses, that the responses that you get in your Zoho Forms can be stored in your Google Drive for later accessibility. Similarly, let's say that you have a form on your website and there are a lot of customers who information you collect from the website has to auto populate in an application like Zoho CRM. Let's say that you have a lot of contacts in Zoho CRM that needs to be auto populated from forms. You can get the data and pass it to the contacts module in CRM and then automate the data entry process over there. So not just web forms, we also have an offline mobile application for Android and iOS. Let's have a look at Zoho Flow. Zoho Flow is an easy to use integration platform, and you can automate a lot of workflows by exchanging information from one application to another application. The core of Zoho Flow plays with triggers and actions, and let's see what's going to happen in the next few minutes. The workflow elements that are used in Zoho Flow is basically decision branches, time delays, schedules, webhooks, and custom functions. We have a scripting environment where you can enter your code and execute a lot of custom functions and add logic to your workflows. And these are the workflow elements that are supported by Zoho Flow. Over 850 plus applications are available and that can be integrated. And there is no need for you to, enter a code and integrate both applications or several other applications. Zoho Flow helps you to integrate with more than 850 plus applications and automate your workflow process based on your business. Not just regular cloud applications, but on-premise apps also. So connect your cloud applications with these on-premise apps to automate your workflows, and you can set up your workflows in minutes. There are over 1,000 plus pre-built workflows in Zoho Flow that can be installed from the Flow gallery. It is easy to set up. You can set up as much as workflows you want in minutes and automate your business process. You can also feel free to customize it as per your needs. Now, let's see what is the core of Zoho Flow, how a trigger is going to help you, get more actions in your workflow. So here, let's say that an application, you know, gives a trigger. That trigger will be used to flow and create one or several actions that you need to perform over time. So these are the following triggers that can be used to flow and create actions based on these triggers. It can be an application, it can be a schedule that was already scheduled in the past or based on a start date or an end date. We have webhooks that can be used to create more actions, a URL, email, and RSS atom feed to create and customize your workflows as per your needs. So let me give you an example here. This is a small use case. I have two applications here. One is Zoho CRM and Zoho Click. So using Zoho CRM, let's say that you have a lot of deals or potentials stored in your Zoho CRM. Let's say that you want to automate a process where if a deal stage goes to closed one, you want to share that information to your teammates over a click group or an announcement group. So here the trigger is the deal getting to the stage closed one, and that would cause an action in Zoho Click to send a message to your team members in a group to let them know that you've won a deal. So you can simply automate this process by integrating Zoho CRM and Zoho Click. And as I said, the deal stage would be considered as a trigger, and the action would be the message going, that is going to be delivered to your teammates on that particular click group. Now, the main product here is Zoho Contracts. It is a contract management CLM tool, which is contract lifecycle management software of Zoho. And these are the few features that we have within the application. One is the contract templates, where you can create and configure your templates from scratch, author the contract document, associate an approval workflow internally, negotiate your contracts online through password protected links, e-sign your contracts, the ability to manage the contractual obligations, change management, as in the ability to amend, terminate, renew, and extend the contract, then analytics and reporting, which is supported within the tool itself. Before showing the user interface of Zoho Contracts, I would like to introduce a character here. His name is Steven. He's a legal associate. As you can see, he's very happy. He has Zoho Contracts in his system and he's going to use it for his contract management needs. So he's all happy. He's having a cup of coffee. It's a beautiful day for him. So what are the things that he's going to manage is what I'm getting at right now. So this is the user interface of Zoho Contracts. This is the dashboard page where he can see the contracts by status, the pending contracts in the pending status, a calendar on the right side, the contract renewal and expiry, and a few other data that is accessible for Steven. Here is where Steven will work on the templates. He will create the templates from scratch for his legal team for the contract creations. Not just templates, but he will also be the person to configure the approval workflow for the contract approval internally. Once the templates and approval workflow is configured, the legal team from his organization will start creating contracts. As you can see here, this is a product sales agreement created by one of the contract owners from his organization. And they will share it with their internal users, collaborate, and then have them approved. So this is the negotiation phase. The legal team will send the contract for negotiation with their counterparties, where they will redline the changes, add their comments, and send it back. And this can happen for multiple cycles. And the counterparty can also easily access the document and make the changes as necessary. Then sign the contracts. and complete the entire agreement. Not just signing, here's where the contract letters feature will help for the post execution activities like amendment, termination, renewals, and extensions. Here's where, Steven's organization, from his legal team, they will be adding obligations, right? Obligations are basically contract tasks. It can be recurring, it can be one time. So this is also completely managed by the legal team. They will assign the obligations to the users so that they can manually work and complete it and mark the status over here. Apart from that, Stephen has a bird's eye view of 35 plus standard reports to track the general activity milestone, performance of the contracts, clause based contracts and obligations, counterparty based reports, and user based reports. He also have access to admin audit logs and user access logs, since he is the admin who is going to monitor everything from his perspective. Now, here is the catch. So this is the problem. Let's say that Stephen works in a in a very uh, big organization which has a lot of departments like maintenance and security, training department, human resource, etc. There are a lot of departments, right? That would usually, the need for contract management comes from various departments in an organization, and the legal team is responsible for drafting the contracts and sending it to the right counterparty. So here, this is the new contract creation form where Stephen and his members have to fill this form, give the contract details, give the counterparty details, select the contract term, and choose whether the contract is renewable or not, enter the financial details, and based on these details, a contract will be created. So assume that Stephen has to create more than 100 to 150 contracts per month. Imagine the amount of pain that he is going to suffer, and eventually he will end up like this, and his happy life would get darker. So this is what I'm going to take it as a problem and show how we can simplify Steven's work by creating a form in Zoho Forms and distribute that work to other departments to fill the form, and based on the form filling, we'll have a contract created automatically through the integration, right? So let me just get into the demo. So this is Zoho Forms user interface, and here is a contract request form that I created. It's a simple form which has customer name, customer email, and the customer address. Now, when I fill this form, what will happen is, this is Zoho Flow user interface, and this is the builder where I have built a flow. When an entry is submitted, this would be considered as a trigger. A counterparty is created. This is an action number one, because the counterparty information is necessary for a contract creation. The second action is going to be creating a counterparty contact and then create a contract itself. So based on the form's information, I will be able to insert the variable. Based on an entry submitted, I would require the counterparty name and email address, which comes from the customer email and customer email address. And also the address information of the counterparty is captured from the Zoho form. I insert that variable over here, and this flows into the counterparty creation and also creates a counterparty contact based on the counterparty name and email address, and then creates a contract based on the template that I choose. Template as in the contract type that I choose over here. Now, let's say that you have multiple contract types in Zoho contracts. You can create as much as workflows you want in Zoho Flow and create the same automation for multiple templates as well. So now let's see what happens when I fill the form. So I'm going to type a name here. I'm just going with a catchy name here. At zanecorp.com. Adding the customer address. So when I fill this form and submit it, let's see what happens in Zoho contracts. As you can see here, contract with John is created over here. I just submitted the form and it happened automatically. I didn't have the need to create, fill this new contract form, and the contract is drafted over here. So now Stephen can directly work on this contract, complete the draft, and go for the further proceedings. Let's see what happened in Zoho Flow. Here's the history where you can track the process on whether it has failed or completed. So the entry has been submitted. So this is the input and output. You get the the counterparty is created over here. You can validate the create counterparty contact, also the create contract over here to check the outcome. So now there is another case here. Okay. So where there is a need for contract creation with values for the document fields. Here is a contract that I created, right? So this doesn't require any information that needs to be added over here in this field. So let's say that there are a lot of fields in your contract and certain fields have values coming from Zoho Forms. How do you automate that process to fill the fields in the contract itself while creating them using the integration? So I have another use case coined using the APIs of Zoho contracts. So we have an API called create contract with values for document fields that can be used to create a custom function in Zoho Flow. And this is the logic that I've used. So here is a create contract custom function where I use the APIs to get the information from forms, a few fields. So the example that I'm going to give here is the SPOC number. Let me show you the form here. This is the form. This validation SPOC number, right? So I'm going to give a value to this field, and this value will be incorporated in the contract that I'm going to create right now. So let's do that, shall we? So I'm just going to enter a name here. So I'm going to enter Rachel Zane. The validation SPOC number, I'm giving a fancy number here. And the address information is not mandatory, so I'm just going to submit it over here. Now what happens is a contract gets created over here under, contract with Rachel Zane. Let me just see if that worked. We can find the history over here. It's cute. Let's wait for it. So what will happen here is the SPOC number, right, will be, available in the field that was inserted in the template. Let's wait for a couple of minutes while this happens. Or let me just, reload the screen and see what happens. Yeah, it's completed. Here's the input and output. And let's see whether the contract is created in Zoho contracts. Yeah, contract or agreement with Rachel Jane is created over here. Now the moment of truth, we'll see if the value has been passed to the field. Yes. As you can see here, this is the field that I added in my template. It's called SPOC number, and the value came from Zoho Forms through the API that I used here in Zoho Flow to create that particular contract. So these are the two use cases I planned in this webinar today. And if you have any questions, if you would like to set up this, in your organization, we'd be happy to extend our support. We also have, a flow on integrating Zoho Forms and Zoho contracts in our gallery. Let me show you how to install that. All you have to do is go to the flows gallery, search for Zoho contracts. And we have a few pre-built workflows that can be automated, and it's ready to install. Now, this integration with, create a contract in Zoho contracts when an entry is submitted from Zoho Forms, this form will be as similar as what we have in our new contract form. Let me show you the same exact form that I built in Zoho Forms. So this is the request contract form. As you can see here, this form is the copy of what we have in Zoho contracts, and that is the new contract form over here. So this is the same exact form that I created in Zoho Forms, and you can install this Zoho Flow. You can install this functionality in Zoho Flow. You can configure it, select which form, and click Done. Make sure you establish all the connections, and based on that, you'll be able to configure this flow. It's going to take only minutes to configure this. And if you require any help or additional support from our side, you can always feel free to reach out to support@zohocontracts.com. And for Zoho Flow, you can reach support@zohoflow.com. And for Zoho Forms, you can reach support@zohoforms.com. So that's the end of the demo. Now it's time for Q&A. You can feel free to throw your questions at me. I'll be able to answer them for you, and we can also have an extended QA session. So stopping my screen share here. And I also have a couple of polls for you guys. Now, do you want to implement this solution in your organization? You can feel free to give your responses. Okay, so let's answer the questions. Can you store a form response as a related list in Zoho CRM? Okay, so it has been responded already. I don't see integration from forms to bookings. Okay, so that's also answered. Another poll question, guys. Which Zoho product would you like to receive a demo of? Please select the products that you want a demo, and we can have them arranged. What is the three main difference between Zoho Forms and Zoho Survey? Right? Is I think that's answered. Is Zoho Flow part of Zoho 1? Yes, Zoho Flow is part of Zoho 1. And number, no computer review. Video platform has had nothing issues every time we try. Automate from Zoho contracts to Zoho people. Yes, actually, we'd love to understand your needs better for integrating Zoho contracts and Zoho people with Zoho Flow. We would love to hear your requirements in detail, so that would help us, assist you with the flow. So you can feel free to reach out to our support as mentioned earlier, and we'll help you with your needs. Can flow be set up and send someone a chosen URL to sign for an online platform? Okay, I think that needs to be addressed. Thanks. Okay, is there a benefit of using Zoho contracts instead of sending contracts through Zoho CRM? Benefit of using? Yes, actually. The benefit of using Zoho contracts instead of using CRM templates, I think that's what you're meaning, right? So using Zoho contracts would help you connect with your customers through negotiation. You can have, live negotiation with your counterparties, have them e-signed. You can also manage, your amendments, renewals, extensions, if there is any in your future. You can track everything at one place. It's a central repository to store all your contracts. You don't lose any data. The cycle time of your contract within your business can be improvised. There is a lot of scope with regards to contract management, and if you would like to have a demo of Zoho contracts, it would be really helpful for you too. So feel free to reach us, and we'll definitely offer you a demo of Zoho contracts. Yes, we will definitely share a recording of this webinar. I hope that should definitely solve the audio issues that a few of you are facing, right? So we'll definitely send a recording of this webinar along with the slide deck, so that will definitely help you. We really apologize if there is any issue from the audio side. We'll definitely send you a recording of this, and I hope that should definitely solve your needs. Can you link CRM contacts and deals to contracts to help fill out fields? Your requirement is possible, but I would love to understand your business case in detail. So feel free to drop an email to support@zocontracts.com, and we'll definitely help you with your needs. What email could we use? Forms I have love to implement, but it is quite large. I have it as a PDF, 50 pages, but based on pop-up questions using JavaScript. Hide the page. Love to set this up. Staff fill out forms. It puts into the required template pages as members and sign. Feel free to reach out to us. I would like to understand your business needs in detail, and then I would be able to point you in the right direction. And you could use the field rules to show hide a field based on a condition input. Also, you could use the custom PDF template document merge option to create more customized PDF and configure the approval process further. The PDF can be saved upon approval. Please, I want to understand this better. So please drop an email to our support, and we'll definitely help you, and we'll provide you personalized assistance. There are a few questions from forms, and that has been answered. Then, what is the difference between flow and RPA? I think that is also answered. What is the difference between Zoho Sign and Zoho Contracts? That's an excellent question. So Zoho Sign is an e-signing software where you can sign any piece of paper. It can be an invoice, anything, any paper that needs to be signed can be signed by Zoho Sign. Zoho Contracts has a scope of contract management needs. Not just signing a contract is considered as a contract management. You have to draft it, you have to create your templates, you have to customize it, you can share it with your users and collaborate to complete a contract. You can negotiate with your clients through a password protected link. This would avoid the back and forth of emails by sending the PDF or the Word document to the client and then getting it back. You won't be able to track the negotiations. So that is also covered in Zoho Contracts. Not just that, you can also have the post award activities, like I said earlier, the amendments, renewals, extensions, and terminations. That is also part of Zoho Contracts, right? So that can also be considered into the CLM aspect. So there are a lot of activities in CLM, and those are the capabilities of Zoho Contracts, and that's the big difference between Zoho Contracts and Zoho Sign. Zoho Contracts has Zoho Sign's e-signing capabilities. Please refer to the yeah, okay. Zoho Contracts, yeah. Zoho Contracts comes with Zoho Sign. It's bundled together. So you purchase contracts, you get Sign free of cost. You get two applications under a single pricing. Will this webinar be available for download? You will definitely get receive a recording of this along with the slide deck. And one last poll that I would like to implement here is, feel free to rate this webinar, and you can engage and give your honest feedback on how this webinar was it useful for you, and so that we'll be able to come up with some more webinars in the future. So the polls will be available on screen. You can feel free to give your valuable rating. Can you link CRM contacts? Okay, I think to help fill out the fields without using Zoho Flow. Without using Zoho Flow, yes, you can. We do have a scripting environment in Zoho CRM. Make sure that you have that scripting environment, and you can use the respective APIs to fetch fields from the contacts module and then pass it to contracts using the create contract with values for document fields API that I suggested. Yes, your requirement is possible, and you can use the scripting environment to achieve it. Using Zoho Flow, does this? Okay, that's been answered. Great training. Thank you so much. I'm looking for a tool that will help me maintain a list of all vendors, including their contract start and end date, vendor name, email, etc. Do you have a tool that can capture these details? Yes, your requirement is possible in Zoho Contracts itself. So I would allow to understand your business, environment in detail. So feel free to drop an email to our support. We can have a demo arranged for Zoho Contracts, and let's see if that fits your needs. You can try to do this via Zoho Flow. Help us with your entire use case and app. Okay, all right, that's my answer. What I want to add Zoho Flow or Forms when I simply want to create a simple contract. You don't require that the integration to create a simple contract. You can directly go to Zoho Contracts and create your contracts, using the new contract, or you can also import your templates and use them for your contract creations. Is there any way to customize the contract templates with more pretty formatting such as text boxes and colors? We have an option to solve your needs while we work on our side to implement better formatting options in our template builder. We have an option to upload your MS Word template. If you already have an MS Word template with the formatting that you mentioned, you can implement that template and use that template to create your contracts. Yes, the webinar is recorded and you'll definitely get a recording of it later with the slide deck. Do these forms and contracts interact with the CRM with begin client contact list? Uh, Need to understand your requirements in detail. Feel free to drop an email to support@zohocontracts.com. Was delayed in joining, but as a Zoho partner, I need to be able to explain the functionality. Can you send me a copy of this presentation? Absolutely, yes. You will definitely get get a recording of this session. All right, then. So, any other questions, gentlemen? Feel free to ask them. Feel free to throw at me. I would be happy to answer them for you. So, I hope I have answered all the questions. Any questions with regards to this integration that we saw today? We can have an extended QA, as I said earlier. So, feel free to ask your questions. Once again, I would like to extend my apologies for the attendees who did not hear you, who had issues with the audio. We will definitely send you a recording post the session along with the slide deck. So please be patient with us. I apologize for the inconvenience caused from our side. Yes, you will definitely get a copy of. All right, then. So I hope we can wrap this up. So thank you so much for joining this session today. I really appreciate your time and efforts uh, to listening to us. So we look forward for more webinars like this, more engaging webinars like this. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We look forward to serving you with all we got. Signing off. Bye bye.